I cannot believe I'm saying this, but this is my last week as a doctor. Almost a year ago, when I made the decision to quit being a doctor, I did not expect how tough this week would be. And if you're thinking, Faye, you are a grown adult, you made this decision, why are you sad? I'm too old to be crying on camera. Then hopefully by the end of the video, you'll see why. Gillian has made me the most humongous bowl of overnight oats, so I'm gonna eat this quickly and try and get a little bit of work done before going into work. But first, if you are new here, hello, my name is Faye. I'm a doctor living in London, and after I quickly get some breakfast down my gullet, I'll explain how I ended up here. So I was inspired to go into healthcare by my nana and my mum, who were both nurses, and when I didn't get the grades to get into medical school and I had to resit my exams, I volunteered in a mother and baby clinic in Zambia, which is kind of where my love of women's health began. And that is how this girl from North Wales ended up in this massive London hospital. But a few years ago, my dreams of becoming a doctor turned into a nightmare, which I'll explain in a little bit more detail later on. I'm back from work and I've just reheated the porridge I didn't finish from this morning. 7 years ago I started medical school, and in my first term I was called common as muck. This was my first rude wake-up call that life as a doctor, unfortunately, is not immune from the prejudices that exist in all other areas of society. A few more semi-traumatic experiences later, my lecturer accidentally emailed me a screenshot of me in a bikini, and that solidified my decision to try get out as quickly as I could. But there was another plot twist that complicated my decision, and I'll get into it later in the video. Focus. Guys, I just finished filming a vlog, Breaking Bad Habits. If you haven't watched it yet, then I will link it somewhere on screen now or in the description for you to watch afterwards. But basically my life was a little bit of a shambles, and I tried to make it less of a shambles, but it remains pretty shambolic. Case in point, there's a pistachio. Medical school was not a complete failure. I met my favourite people, including my boyfriend, who I'm going to Japan with in a few weeks. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments. I think we have watched every single Japan vlog on YouTube, and we are still no closer to having a concrete itinerary. Today I woke up from work and remembered I have the most exciting after work plans ever. Let's go back to how on earth I went from wanting to quit medical school to working in a top London hospital. I know most of you will disagree with me, but I love learning. There's no knowledge more powerful or interesting than knowledge about the human body, and it's honestly what got me through medical school when I felt like I didn't fit in. What a day, guys, what a day. I got 2 zips that came up. Silly me, I decided to pop them. Not only that, I got into work and I realised that my button on the back of my jumpsuit decided to pop off as soon as I arrived to work, so I spent the entire day using the staplers to keep me from showing the entire ward my bra strap. Somehow, despite everything, I got good enough grades to get a job as a doctor in London, but the biggest plot twist was yet to come, which I'll get to tomorrow after probably the highlight of my entire week. When I say the highlight of my week, it ended the moment we started to try and unsuccessfully pack the car. No! Somehow we did eventually get it all into the car. However, that did mean that an unfortunate gentleman was £70 less well off. This guy, there was a taxi driver literally waiting for us to not be able to fit it all in. Oh God. So that he could make some money.
At the next lights, turn right.
Good morning, team. Happy Friday. I cannot believe how cold it is. It is the first day of August. I did also get an email from UCL where I'm doing my masters that I was meant to send in my degree certificate, and I sent in my transcripts. So they emailed me and they said, oh, you know, you actually do need to send in your degree certificate with like the signature and, you know, all the fancy schmancy stuff. So I have no idea where my degree is. So very regularly I do worry about where my birth certificate is. And now I have this new worry of having to wonder where my degree is. You know why today is a good day? A, because it's Friday. B, because I've actually got a little bit of time to drink my coffee at my desk before going into work. Spoiler from me there, I am going to be doing a women's health masters in September, but shockingly deciding to quit the NHS and do a masters in women's health was actually a really, really hard decision. I'm going to need you to ignore the mess in the background, but I'm going to have a couple of drinks for a friend's birthday and I'm really, really, really tired. So I'm just going to have this green cola for a little bit of caffeine before I go. What I'm wearing is really nothing exciting. My friends and my social life have absolutely slipped to the bottom of my priorities over the last 2 years. So I will definitely really appreciate more flexibility in my schedule and time for balance. Cheers. I am categorically not someone who sleeps in or lies in. I find it really, really, really difficult. This last week I've really been struggling to like get up for work. So I was so excited to lie in this morning. Bearing in mind a lie in for me is normally 8 AM. I've been dead to the world. I promise I will not be spending the next year of my life wasting it away, staying in bed until 11 in the morning. But if you're wondering what the next phase of my life will look like, then honestly, I have no idea. But my aim is to try and make a difference from outside the system because the situation for women at the moment is dire. There are hundreds of thousands of women on NHS waiting lists to be seen by a gynaecologist, and even if you get an appointment, doctors don't even have the research to cure common conditions like endometriosis. I don't have an answer, but the podcast is the first step in opening up these conversations about women's health, but making it entertaining. I got a message at about 11 PM that the first edit of the podcast is ready. I'm gonna have a look. By the way, if you did want to access the podcast before anyone else, make sure to click the link in the description. When you work in an NHS hospital, you do tend to be in fight or flight for basically the entirety of your shift, and I am looking forward to hopefully being a lot calmer in myself. I'm hoping this will mean I'm able to keep my space a little bit cleaner and tidier. Are you ready to see something disgusting? You have been warned. This is the straw for the water bottle that I drink from every single day. I'm sharing this because if you can't remember the last time you cleaned out your water bottle, especially the straw, this is a sign. I also used to really struggle to keep my toothbrush and sink clean because toothpaste used to just accumulate at the bottom of my electric toothbrush charger, which it was constantly attached to because my electric toothbrush would always be out of charge until I discovered a long-lasting solution. So I've used a Surrey toothbrush probably for like the last year, 2 years even. I think I got it first when I started working as a doctor, and very kindly Surrey are sponsoring this video and they've sent Dylan a Surrey toothbrush. If you've never heard of Surrey before, basically it's a recyclable electric toothbrush. I'm going to show you what it looks like, all the cool nifty features. This is the rechargeable case, which is super, super, super handy if you're going away. I cannot believe that when I used to go away, I just used to stick my toothbrush in my makeup bag, something that goes in my mouth. I did not have a case for it. What is also great about the Surrey travel case is it has an LED light here that kills 99.9% of bacteria in a minute. So not only is my toothbrush protected from all that outside gunk, it's also being cleaned. Probably my favourite thing about my Surrey, however, is the mirror mount. Instead of getting this really gunky, horrible film underneath your toothbrush, this sticks on your mirror, and then your toothbrush just sticks on your mirror as well. If you're ready to say goodbye to messy toothbrushes, then click the link in the description or use the code on screen now to get your hands on your own Surrey. Please ignore the extremely random meal. I promise it was delicious and nutritious. As excited as I am for the next year, this week I couldn't stop worrying about whether it was actually the right decision, because it really hit home how much I was going to miss it. Sunday morning I had a brief break from my existential crisis because I hosted a paddle and Pilates event. As you can probably tell, I have never played paddle before, so I wasn't very good, but it didn't make it any less fun. If you need a way of spending more quality time with your significant other that isn't marinating in front of the TV watching Netflix, let me introduce you to our new Sunday tradition, trying a different independent coffee shop and having a end of week debrief. Life has been very busy recently and we have seen how much our relationship suffers when we aren't getting quality time together outside our flat. Unfortunately, our morning of peace did have to come to an end so that we could get back to the flat that we are renovating. A few of you left comments a little bit confused in the last vlog because I only bought my flat a few months ago. It's a long story, but I will get into it on day 6. I do not think I'm emotionally prepared for today. So instead of acknowledging my feelings, I'm going to talk about the new SPF that I'm trying. I'm going to try for the first time the Murad Brightening SPF. Normally my skin really does not get on with vitamin C, but this has got vitamin C in it. So I'm going to see. Today is my last full day as a doctor, which I have really mixed feelings about. I met up with some friends over the weekend and they're 4 girls who they all live together, and basically found out that all 4 of them have had therapy, and we had a good chat about that and the benefits of therapy, and I was like, you know, probably seems like a sensible thing for me to do. Why have I not done that? And then I was like, oh wait, Faye, you have no free time. That is why. And then I have just been reflecting on what a little bit more balance in my life would look like. And more balance mainly looks like having the time to invest in my emotional and physical well-being, which has probably been neglected over the last 2 years. But then on the other hand, I really love my job, and in so many ways I feel ready for a break, but I don't feel ready to let go. My last full day was a lot harder than I anticipated, mainly because I got extremely lucky with my colleagues on this job. Good evening, guys. Now, I know you're going to be so shocked to hear where I am heading tonight. But before I tell you where I'm heading tonight, I need to tell you, I think, my proudest moment in my relationship so far. Today in work, aka my last full day of work, I was speaking to one of the vascular surgeons, and this individual was recommending a TV programme to me. They recommended Bodies, which is on BBC iPlayer, and was made by the same person who made Line of Duty, who interestingly is a doctor. And then I was explaining this to Dylan because I was begging that we could watch the episode this evening and not have to do work all night. And I didn't tell Dylan what this person had recommended, and Dylan said, "What did she recommend?" And I hadn't said her gender. It was a woman, but he assumed the vascular reg was a woman. And that is probably my proudest moment in my relationship. However, as we were walking out the door, Dylan, what did you say?
Sounds like you're one of those influencers just making up things that their kid says for clout.
Did you say that?
Did.
I promise I'm not making this up. Anyway, drum roll please. You may have already guessed it. We are heading to the new flat because supposedly we are going to be moving in this weekend and there's a lot to do. Right, time to answer the question, why on earth are we moving again? Honestly, I just wanted to buy my flat on my own. It was a personal financial milestone I was very excited to hit because it represents all the mornings I woke up early to work before I went into the hospital. Now my boyfriend has bought his own flat too, which meant that we've had time to renovate the new flat whilst we live in mine. I have been trying to document the renovation process over on my Instagram. If you do want to say hello over there, then it's just at drfayeba. Let's see. Oh shit. Good first step. Nice. Oh, today is my last day. You may not be shocked to hear that my last day was not this euphoric sense of relief. I felt a mixture of guilt, regret and anger, which was interrupted by my boyfriend bringing me a "congratulations, you have finished your job" cake.
Happy last day to you. Happy last day to you. Happy last day, dear Faye.
What did it say?
Happy last day to you.
What does it say?
Hooray. It's quite bad, isn't it?
What does it say?
It's supposed to say finish.
Finish! Oh.
Whee! Hip it.
Hooray! I'm not really sure I've got words at the moment. I've had a little cry. I did want to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you. Whether you're new here or you've been here since the medical school vlogs, this YouTube family is a huge part of what got me through the toughest years where I felt very out of place. And I recognise not all of you will be interested in this next phase of my life, but I'm grateful anyway that you've stuck around this long. Ah. Oh my god! Oh, it's looking so good! Wardrobe of dreams coming right up. Can I stand in it?
Yeah, don't see why not.
For the next year, this looks like the closest I'll get to a hospital, so any recommendations for medical TV series are greatly appreciated. But I think I owe you just one final explanation. Good morning, guys. I'm not really sure I still have the words this morning. I probably won't even keep this in, but just for like my personal memories, and maybe I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but I want to remember how I feel. A couple of months ago, I started a series where I was explaining why I was quitting on Instagram. A few episodes in, someone from work found that series and told my consultant. One day I walk into work and my consultant's like, "Oh, Faye, I think after the ward round we should get coffee." So in my head, I'm like pooing my pants, like, what have I done wrong? Am I about to get told off? Like, what are they going to say to me? And then we get coffee and this consultant is like, "I've heard you're quitting. I just wanted to, find out a little bit more why." And I told her why and left that conversation very close to tears, because that consultant was the first person who told me that I was like capable, and probably gave me the most encouragement I'd ever had in medical school and as a doctor. And I think that is obviously such a hallmark of the NHS, is not many of your seniors have time to give you that encouragement and tell you you're doing a good job. So basically she kind of said she thought it was a shame, and she thought that actually I lacked a lot of self-belief. These are kind of happy tears, guys. So anyway, we kind of unpacked a lot of the stuff that happened at medical school, and then basically she gave me some connections and contacts to help with my career if I chose to continue as a doctor. But then I walked away from that conversation and I reflected a lot and realised that a huge part of me quitting is I've based so much of my image of myself on what people in medical school said about me, lecturers in my medical school said about me. And as much as on the surface I disagreed with everything they were saying about me, I don't think I realised how much those opinions of me became what I thought about myself. And I'm not quitting my job because I don't love it. I really, really, really love my job. I think it's the anxiety of walking into work every day, or starting a new rotation and just having this looming fear that I'm going to go through that again. And quitting is more about protecting myself than taking a step away from something that I hate, because I don't hate it at all. I'm too old to be crying on camera. I am almost done, but I am very grateful for that conversation, because I realised that if I quit, they have kind of won. And if this all feels like a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions, then I would agree. I hate myself for saying this after spending the last 2 months talking about why I was quitting, but I am really not as sure anymore, especially with the emotions that I feel after yesterday. I don't feel ready to let it go. I think I just need to work out what the future looks like, because one thing I do know, I cannot sustain the last 2 years for the rest of my life. I cannot have these two things. I was getting coughs and colds every 2 weeks. I was waking up before work and working every day after work. That is not sustainable, that is not healthy. And if this next year gives me anything, I hope it's maybe a way I can make these two things work, because I'm not ready to say goodbye to either of them. Not the most appropriate timing, I will admit, but thank you again to our wonderful sponsor, Surrey. Make sure to click the link in the description if you would like to get your hands on your very own Surrey with a 40+ day battery life and plant-based recyclable heads. Also, I am hoping to vlog a little bit more in my master's year, because I will have a little bit more free time. So if you did enjoy the vlog, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. YouTube thinks you'll like this video here, or maybe this video just below it. Okay, bye. I'm sorry for crying on camera again.